The Global Caregivers Network presents the first annual Global Male Caregivers Summit, coming your way April 13th, 2024, beginning at 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Register on Eventbrite to hear from the most amazing and powerfully inspiring men as they share caregiving from the male perspective. Grab your ticket today and we'll see you there.
Good morning, Sherelle. Good morning to all the other caregivers that are here. And my apologies for my background, a little technical issues this morning, but that's just life in general. In sharing my story, I have to start off by saying that with all the caregivers, or for that matter, caregivers all around the world, our circumstances are all different and unique. Whatever disease is afflicting our loved one, that is not the common bond. The common bond for all caregivers is the emotional toll that we all go through. My story started where my brother had been taking care of my mother, who was diagnosed with Alzheimer's over 12 years ago. And he had taken on the care for my mother full time for 4 years without ever complaining. And the opportunity for him to make the difference in her life was extremely positive and had set the groundwork for how we as caregivers, my other brother and my sister, took over for him after that. I did relocate back from California to Baltimore, actually moved back into the room that I grew up in and slept on the same twin bed that I grew up on, and recognized that there are more important things in life than just where you're sleeping or what kind of belongings you have. My life was in storage in California, and I moved back home to be a full-time caregiver for my mother, with a lot of help definitely from my brothers and my sister, but I was the primary caregiver for my mother in the home 24/7, along with a helper caregiver that came in daily also. The biggest point I wanted to make specifically as a male caregiver is we go home or we start our care thinking that we're strong. We can handle any issue that might pop up, but we don't realize really what the disease is going to do, not just to our loved one, but also to ourselves. Over time, you spend time learning what to do, how to connect with your loved one. I spent the time just trying to figure out how to have a common conversation with my mother. Unfortunately, because of her memory and the Alzheimer's, she wouldn't remember what we talked about 5 minutes before. So you found yourself repeating yourself or answering the same questions that she had. You had to learn that patience. And I recognize as a caregiver also, specifically with Alzheimer's, that you had to be an initiator, a motivator, a coach, all those things to actually bring life back into your loved one. For me, I found music is popular with my mother. She had music in her life throughout her life. She sang with the Baltimore Symphony Chorus for over 24 years. So she had that ingrained into her. I was able to play music that eventually was able to reach her, bring her back from her previous self, actually, and for her to enjoy that music, not just with the listening and tapping and singing along, but also with gestures and everything. And we were able to create moments over and over. And then I was able to video those moments and put those on Facebook and YouTube, where we found an amazing following around the world. And what I found, it wasn't just a matter of sharing a smile and sharing what was happening with my mother. I found that what I was doing was also helping other caregivers that were caring for their loved ones with Alzheimer's and dementia. It's turned out to be a scientific fact that part of the brain retains that part of the creative aspect of our loved one. And I never knew it when I first started, and it just sort of grew and grew and grew. And through the comments and messages that were sent to me on a regular basis, I found out that other people were trying the same thing, and it made a difference with their connection with their loved one. And I found that, hey, if I continue doing this, not only am I helping myself and my mother make the difference in our time that we spent together, it also made a difference for other people to find that something that they can connect with. I say to a lot of people that within this journey, specifically with Alzheimer's and dementia, and with other diseases, autism, cancer, all those things, those conditions within the person that has the disease, that stays constant. You know what it's going to be like the next day. With Alzheimer's, you know it's not going to get any better. It's going to be progressive. You know the sundowners is going to be there. You know the frustrations you're going to have with having to answer the same questions over and over are going to be there. But you got to find a way to get through that. The music helped us. Being out in a park that I took my mom to interact with others helped her. It awakened her. And by doing that and sharing that on our videos on Facebook and YouTube was the opportunity for other people to try those same methods that I use to help them, again, connect with their loved ones. But through all that, not just with the situations with my mother's Alzheimer's, I also learned about the caregiver role. I wish I would have known more before I started, because it is you find it out as you go along. You find out what works, what doesn't work, how you're going to react, how to change your reactions once you go through those frustrating times. And then you try to manipulate your days and your attitude and your emotions such that you're not regressing in being impatient and frustrating or raising your voice. Those things are natural human elements that you are going to go through. And with that, I got better and better, but it does not mean that those emotions do not continue to come up in yourself. As I say, the person with the disease is the only constant person or the constant situation in this journey. The emotional toll that a caregiver goes through with the lack of patience, frustration, just wondering what they're going to wind up doing the next day, for that matter, the next moment with themselves and with their loved one, was the toughest part of our journey. But again, through my 6 years of taking care of Mom, I found an opportunity to be able to not just help myself, but help others. And through that, I found a large community online that actually was talking to me, that told me that what we were doing was making a difference in their lives. Hence, that gave me an opportunity to pursue everything, to continue pursuing the things that I was doing with my mother to help others. That has now become my passion since my mom has passed, to make sure that I can try to share what worked for me for those that are about to go through their journey with somebody with Alzheimer's or dementia, and for those that are on their journey. The opportunity to be able to show that, yes, you are going to lose your patience. Yes, they are going to challenge you. Yes, your emotions are never going to be stable on a regular basis, but you got to find those things that are going to make a difference in your loved one's life. And when you do that, you're going to find that that's going to help you sustain your mental state, your emotional state on a regular basis. I still continue to this day to recognize that if I'm sharing my mom's videos on Facebook, I'm helping others. And when I'm helping others, I'm helping myself. That has been my therapy. I don't know how long this is going to be. People say that, oh, when your loved one is gone through whatever affliction they've had, that, okay, your journey is over. And that's far from the truth. That is far from the truth. The aspect of going back and reliving what you did for so long, day after day, hour after hour, still resounds in you. And those memories come back at any time of the day. I find myself at a stoplight or in the gym, and all of a sudden I think of a specific moment with my mother, and boom, the tears start coming. And I find that that's been the same with a whole lot of people around the world that have gone through the same journey similar to mine. The biggest thing that I can continually try to share with other people is not just my individual journey, because again, everybody's journey is different in every single way, but that emotional toll remains the same. And a part of that emotional toll is going through this alone. You feel helpless that you can't help your loved one because of the disease. If it's progressive, all you're doing is watching it get worse. But your emotions have to be strong. And with that, I find that basically in being strong, you had to make that difference to ensure that the emotions that your loved one was exhibiting from what you were trying to do with them was being positive. That was my reinforcement. Knowing Mom can smile, knowing Mom can react in a conversation and be part of that conversation where she's inquisitive and bringing back a few things that she might have remembered through our conversation made a big difference. It made me stronger and recognize that I was doing the right thing. And again, I backtrack when I say when I'm doing this alone, it's a big problem for caregivers in general, that we don't get the help that we see should be common sense from family members, community members, those that know of your situation but do not step in to at least give you some moral support during that journey. I try to emphasize that for those people that know of somebody that's caregiving, know of somebody that has that is afflicted with whatever disease, of course, mine being Alzheimer's. Be in touch with that caregiver. Say, hey, I'm thinking about you. Give them an opportunity to at least speak out just a little bit. It'll make a big difference for the caregiver. It'll make a big difference for you. I spend a lot of time telling people that don't get to the point where you're saying, I wish I had. Get to the point you say, I'm glad I did. And I'm glad I did that I stepped in and I helped the caregiver. I'm glad I did and I helped the person that was afflicted with disease. I'm glad I did because I did what I could do to make a difference in the lives of the caregiver, the loved one with the disease, and for yourself. Because when they're gone, it's too late. Too many times I've heard, oh, I wish I was going to call, I was going to stop over and all those things. And by that time, you recognize or the situation has passed, where the loved one has passed, or the caregiver has gone down that road of no return where they can't be helped. That's too late. You need to step in to be able to give a presence to anybody you can that is going through a journey with a loved one, specifically with, again, Alzheimer's, dementia, autism, cancer, whatever it might be, to give a little bit of yourself, because you're going to be the one that actually grows from that experience, along with helping those that you're trying to help. I would love for people to be able to follow the journey that Mom and I had. Again, we're on Facebook and YouTube. You can find me on Larry A. Griner on Facebook, and enjoy the smiles and a lot of tears sometimes of the experiences Mom and I had. It was a bond between the two of us that eventually became a bond between actually millions of people around the world, which again helped me get through my journey. And I hope to continue helping others that are going through that journey in any way possible. The videos I have sustain me to be able to look at and recognize you did the right thing. I think that any caregiver on here can look in the mirror and say, man, I stepped up when I really didn't know what I was doing. And then I learned how to do it better and better each day. And the opportunity to be able to make a difference in not just your loved one's life, but those around you, will actually carry you way beyond this journey. And I can't help but to share it as much as possible for as long as possible. Not to stay in grief, because of course, grief is natural. It will be there for a long period of time. We will still have those regrets of why didn't we do certain things certain ways. But the things that we did do did make the biggest difference in our loved one's life, for our family, because we took care of our loved one and saved them sometimes from having to make that sacrifice. But at least we can look in the mirror and say, we did the best we could. It made a difference. And hopefully this will help other people to make a difference also. So I want to thank Sherelle again for having me share my story. And I would really hope other people can, again, come along with my journey and learn more of what I did with my mother through my Facebook page. And like I said, get a smile that I know you're going to need from time to time. She'll really make you wonder, does this lady even have Alzheimer's? And if anything, that was the point along the way. So thank you, Sherelle. And I hope this helps other people. And I hope to be a part of your presentation next year.
The Global Caregivers Network presents the first annual Global Male Caregivers Summit, coming your way April 13th, 2024, beginning at 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Register on Eventbrite to hear from the most amazing and powerfully inspiring men as they share caregiving from the male perspective. Grab your ticket today and we'll see you there.